Imagine being wrong for so long. What's going on, you guys? Let me read the new video today. So, I'm here to admit that I was wrong about Sky Striker. Every prediction list I've seen for the majority of them, including my own, we have made predictions about how they're going to hit Sky Striker. We thought last list they were going to hit Sky Striker. We thought all these things, and none of that stuff happened. And here we are. Sky Striker is one of the most represented, if not the most represented. Has so many wins now. Paulo has 3 wins in a row with the deck. I mean, the deck is insane, and this ban list that is coming, God knows when. It could be tomorrow. It could be sometime later tonight after this video goes live. It could be any time. It could be maybe towards the end of the month. It could be any of that stuff. And I will admit that I was wrong. The problem card in Sky Strikers, it's not Engage. It's not Widow Anchor. I personally, for the longest time, thought it was Kagari, and a part of me still thinks that. But you guys have brought something to my attention that I basically failed to, kind of, number one, understand, number two, admit, and that is that the real problem with Sky Strikers, the way the ban list should handle Sky Strikers, the way Sky Strikers can be put in a certain type of check, they need to ban Multirole. This card is insane. I underestimated this card from the very beginning, I will admit. All I thought about was Engage and Widow Anchor, and it's been that way pretty much the entire time Sky Strikers have been out. The card I lose to is Widow Anchor. I'll admit, being a Thunder Dragon player, Engage, not really a problem. If I go first, I put a Colossus, your Engage doesn't work. But if you have that damn Widow Anchor, you turn off my Colossus. I better hope I have multiple Colossus, or I have a way to negate that Widow Anchor, or I dropped a Phantasme, or I had something. I just basically answered the Widow Anchor. What I failed to do as a player and as a content creator for you guys is acknowledge that the real power of this deck outside of Engage and Widow Anchor, it comes from Multirole. This card is insane. And one thing I'm going to say with this video, kind of like a little preface, even though we're almost 3 minutes into the video, is that this list said it's going to make small adjustments. Now, if it were up to me, I would hit way more cards. I would, limit a couple cards, put possibly Kagari to 1, all these things. I would do all these things. But since this is going to be a small list, I think this is the most logical thing that will probably happen. People can argue with me. You can say, Slim, you're wrong, put Kagari to 1. What I've heard from multiple Sky Striker players, and I've talked to some of the best. I know some of the best. You guys know, Manaf, Tristan, all these players that top consistently with the deck. Cody, you name it. Endless players, endless teammates that top with this deck, win with this deck. I asked them about this, and, I got a bunch of mixed results. I'm going to actually read to you some of the stuff that they told me. And one thing I'll tell you is that while I think Kagari going to 1 would hurt the deck dramatically, I think it would hurt the deck a little too much. Sky Striker players have begged, and said, please don't do this. We'd rather have Engage to 2, Widow Anchor to 2. But then I really thought about it. I reread your guys' comments. You guys gave me, a lot of props on my ban list, the way I did my ban list video. But you also told me, hey, you forgot about this. You didn't think about this. I disagree with this. And that's good. Trust me. I need the criticism. It helps me learn. It helps me make my content and my discussions better, since you guys really seem to like these discussions. And these are going to be more of like the videos that you see here on the channel, when it comes to the competitive content. But the thing I failed to realize is that Multirole is the problem. And here's why this card is the problem. This card is reminiscent of Spellbook of Judgment. What happened to Spellbook of Judgment? It got banned. Now, why is it, reminiscent? For a lot of you, you probably know why. But for those of you that really don't know, those of you that aren't super competitive, or those of you that are getting in the competitive scene or waiting for Sky Striker to get hit, I feel that since this list is going to be so small and it's only going to touch a couple things, I think this would be the hit that would probably do one of the most important things. So what Sky Striker Multirole basically does is it's a Spellbook of Judgment. You're able to, you activate it. Every time you activate, every time you activate a Sky Striker card, you put a counter on it, and then you're able to set that many cards from the graveyard equal to the number you activated. So basically, if you activate an Engage, a Widow Anchor, and Afterburner all in one turn, you set 3 cards. You can even set the cards that you activated. It's pretty insane. And what's very cool about this card too is its other effect, its main effect. The reason why this card is so insane. So the first line of text reads, once per turn you can target one other card you control, send that card to the graveyard. Also, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to your spell card activations for the rest of this turn, even if this card leaves the field. Think about that. Once you select a card on the field, send it to the graveyard, your opponent cannot hand trap you. They cannot respond with any effect on the field. They cannot affect response with any back row. They can do nothing while you engage and Widow Anchor away. You are free range to do whatever you want, and it's insane. And that is what I really failed to address, is that this card really does everything for the deck. I'm going to actually give you guys a direct quote from one of my really good friends who has topped with this deck multiple weekends in a row, multiple regionals, knows what he's talking about, and this is what I want you guys to really take away from this. I asked him, if Multirole were to be banned, tell me, as a Sky Striker player, what would that do for you? And here's what he said. Hitting Multirole would hurt the deck's grind game, and that's really important because you want to grind out the game until you win off the pure card advantage. Remember that key phrase, win off card advantage. Kagari would have to be used to recycle more than other cards since you can't reset them and get more value out of them. Also, Multirole lets us play around hand traps and opponents' field effects. Think about that too. Lets us play around opponents' hand traps and field effects. Losing Multirole would change how the deck is played a lot and couldn't be played as a tempo control deck anymore. That's a lot to process, and we'll break that down. So basically, you're taking away this deck's grind game. You're taking away its control aspect. You're taking away its ability to play around your opponent's hand traps and on-field effects, which is something I just mentioned. By doing all that, you change the way the deck is played. The deck, if you notice, players used to play only 2 copies of Multirole, 2 copies of the field spell. If you've noticed, most players are going to 3 and 3. You know why? You want to see these cards. These cards are how you win. If Multirole resolves unopposed, you're probably going to win. Every time my opponent has resolved Multirole for like 3 or 4, I'll be honest, I've probably lost. It's been very hard to play through all that back row. It's insane. The main thing you need to take away from this too is that Kagari would have to be used to recycle more other cards since you can't just reset them. The thing with Multirole is this lets you reuse cards you just used, lets you reset them. And yes, they do get banished if they leave the field, but that doesn't matter. You're resetting them, you're reusing them, and you're getting all your advantage back. And your opponent can do nothing while you do that. And that is why this card is so powerful. This card creates an ultimate grind game. And what happens when Sky Strikers go into the grind game? They win. They usually win every single time. Very few decks can grind with them. The Thunder Dragon deck, we put up a board and say, break my board. If you break my board, well, we can try to rebuild that board, but it won't be as strong. Your grind game as a Sky Striker player is through the roof. You just continue, and you win off pure card advantage. That is the one thing that I will admit about Sky Strikers. They win off pure card advantage, and this card is the reason why. This card does it all. And if this card gets banned, is the only hit, I feel it's going to hinder the deck. You will see a big difference in how the deck is played. You will no longer have to worry about, them resetting, reusing all those cards. They have 3 Kagaris. Once the Kagaris go through, unless they're playing Hercules base, which I'm pretty sure they're going to have to play if this happens, they're not getting those cards back. They Widow Anchor you, you got to play through 3 Widow Anchors. You got to play through 3 Engage. Kagari is the only card that can get them back. If you stop the Kagari, say you cherries it, say you do whatever, their grind game, gone. This card, with this card banned, their grind game, basically gone because you grind with this card. Now, people will make the argument, Slim, we'll just hit Kagari to 1. It solves the problem. Does it really? Possibly. I think that's, if it were me, if I were the one making the ban list, I would probably say put Kagari to 1. People would go as far as to say put Kagari to 1, ban Multirole. You do that, you're going to kill the deck. Now the question is, does Konami want to kill the deck? I don't think so. They still have to print the ulti Kana. They've just, you guys have seen the OTS leak. The new ulti is Hayate. The next ulti is going to be Kana. Once that happens, I don't know if there'll be any more Sky Striker cards. That might be it. That might be where we see the deck get hit. Konami seems to like this deck. This deck, you know, in a sense, people say this deck is unfair. I have always said, you know, the thing that I like about this deck is it is a very grindy deck, and it, out of a lot of the decks, it's very fair. It does not build a board that says you can't play half the time. And I say that because you're not staring down a Colossus. You're not staring down a Hot Red. You're not staring down a bunch of negates. You might be staring down some Widow Anchors, but that's nothing that a well-timed Twin Twister or back row removal can't handle. Denko Sekka is a hell of a drug, hell of a card. You just summon it, you know, you blanket the whole back row. They're not building a board that says, you know, break my board. They're summoning one Link monster, they're putting a bunch of back row, and it's basically like, it's almost like a trap deck, except the spells are more reactive. They're able to do more things. And Widow Anchor is that powerful. Now, you guys will say, put Widow Anchor to 2, put Engage to 2, put Kagari to 1, put Multirole to 1, or ban it. It's too many hits. This list, and this is another thing I failed to mention in my ban list video, and I apologize for that, is that this is going to be small adjustments. I look at it and say, one of two things could happen. They could put Kagari to 1, they could put it, that's not the first thing. There's 3 things that happen. They could do that. Second option is to put Engage and Widow Anchor to 2. I don't think that does anything, to be honest. You still have 3 Kagari, you still have Multirole, doesn't do anything. But if you hit Multirole, you take away the Spellbook of Judgment, you take away the grind game, you take away the recycle card, the deck's basically game plan changes. And I honestly think if Konami wants to handle strikers on the ban list with these small adjustments, the card that needs to be hit is Multirole. Anyways, you guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? I actually like when you guys disagree with me because you guys usually give me good reasons. Like, I don't want you to just say, oh, you're wrong. You know, I need to hear your reason why. Because trust me, this took me a while to understand. It took me a while to understand why would you hit Multirole over other cards. Then I really thought about all the games I played against Striker over the past couple formats, the games I've lost, the games I've won, and I really thought about it. Multirole, it's a hell of a card, and I feel that it being probably the best card in the deck really just does so much because it just creates this grind game that when the deck gets rolling, again, it's going to win off pure card advantage, and it's insane. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? How would you handle Striker? Now, I know you guys are going to say put Kagari to 1, put those other cards to 2, but think about what I talked about in this video. Think about the grind game. Think about the pure advantage this card generates. You guys have commented about Multirole going to 1 or getting banned. I think if they ban it, this really does hinder the deck, and it really does do a lot of things. Now, you guys could argue that hitting Multirole does nothing. Feel free to. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Just let me know what you guys think. You guys know what to do. You guys are enjoying these discussions. You guys know what to do. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.